This is Sky Sports Live.
Two weeks ago, we were in Belfast for an absolute cracker of a match between Cliftonville and Linfield, two of the biggest clubs in the JJB Sports Irish Premiership.
And it's a goal, and it's Paul Munster who has scored it. And it's Ricky Murphy. What a strike. And it's 3-0 to Linfield. Well, can you believe this?
Let's hope for more of the same tonight. We've travelled outside the city for a game involving two country clubs. It's Ballymena United against Newry City, and it's live from the Ballymena Showgrounds. Yes, hello and welcome to Ballymena. It's a wet and windy evening. We're featuring two clubs who've certainly done their bit for Northern Ireland football in recent years. Ballymena United produced Nigel Worthington, the current Northern Ireland manager, and Newry City produced Pat Jennings, the legendary Pat Jennings, the most capped Northern Ireland player of all time. Watching the game with us here this evening is the current Linfield manager, David Jeffrey, by far the most successful manager in the Irish League at the moment. Good evening, David.
Good evening, Graham.
We'll talk about Ballymena and Newry in a second, of course, but first of all, just to look back on some of the action that we saw there. Your game against Cliftonville, 4-0, superb win for you, just what you needed at that time.
It was a fantastic evening for us, Graham. You know, we've been under the cosh a little bit, going through a crisis, as they would say, but the players really turned up the heat that night. It was a cracking game of football, and I think Helen Chamberlain remarked about it being back to the good old days. Helen was 110% right.
Back to the good old days, it was right, and you really kicked on from there because you won again on Saturday against Dungannon Swifts. Talk us through that.
It was a tough game, so it was, Graham. We won 3-1. It certainly wasn't a 3-1 victory because it was very, very tight. We had to work desperately hard for it, but I think we deserved the victory on the day, and we were delighted to get the 3 points.
Excellent. Well, here are the goals, of course, at Windsor. You hadn't been scoring, I suppose. It was 4 games before you scored. You hadn't scored in before Cliftonville. Now you can't stop.
Yeah, well, that young man scored the first one. Jimmy Mulgrew came back and did fantastically well. Then big Timmy Adamson came back, scored a great goal for Dungannon. Young Mark Muskimmin come on for us. Super header by Mark, made it 2-1 for us. And then the master himself, Glenn Ferguson. Great run by Jimmy Mulgrew. Ball in the box and bang.
What age is Glenn Ferguson now? About 56 or something?
He's 55 his next birthday.
39 and a grandfather and still scoring.
He's quality.
You're not on top of the league though, where you're normally comfortable being. Crusaders above you. How impressive have you been with them this season?
They have done fantastically well this year. We've played them on 2 occasions. Here they are against Glentoran, who have been flying up tonight. David Rainey with the first goal. As I say, we've played the Crews twice. We've beaten them once 1-0. There's Mark Dixon, who used to play for us.
Yes, you let him go in the summer.
Well, actually, we didn't let him go. We wanted Mark very much to stay, but previously Mark's his opportunities were limited, and he felt he would get more first-team football at Crusaders, and great. There he is, and performing tremendously well.
Yes, he's doing a job for them this year. So the Crews, top of the table. We'll take a look at the table now, David. You're not in a bad place though. You're second. You have a couple of games in hand. The Crews, as we said, on top. Coleraine, third, great season for them, and the Glens, your big two Belfast rivals, a few points adrift, but they also have a couple of games in hand. But the two teams we're watching tonight, Newry City and Ballymena. Newry, and a win tonight would put them into the top 6, which is what it's all about, because after 33 games the Irish League will split into the top 6 and the bottom 6, and the top 6 will play for places in Europe and of course for the title. Ballymena United, David, really need to get out of that position. If they win tonight they'll get off the bottom for the first time in 2 months. A lot of people are saying they're too good a team to be down there.
Well, they are. We played them up here a couple of weeks back, and up until then they hadn't had a victory, couldn't buy one, and first 25 minutes we absolutely pummeled them. Maybe should have been a couple of goals to the good, didn't get them. Then Kevin Kelby scored an absolute wonder goal, great strike. Came out second half, there's Kevin there he is. It was a great strike. Second half we come out, we hit the post, hit the bar. Big Alan Blaney, who is an excellent goalkeeper, made a couple of great saves. And then the mighty Kevin Kelby decided to go and score another one.
You had a look at him. You put in a bid for him, in fact. You tried to take him to Linfield. You're obviously still interested.
Well, Graham, I'll tell you now, we actually put a bid in of 35,000, and but we were told by Robert Couples, the Ballymena chairman, that he wasn't going for any money. Absolutely no monies could buy him. So it was frustrating, disappointing, but you know, obviously he's a Ballymena player, he's their asset, and they quite rightly held on to him.
He's their top man up front, obviously, but what about their top man at the back, Alan Blaney?
Blaney really on the day that he played against us was outstanding. He really was. Big goalkeeper, but very agile, can get about the place really sharply, and he was excellent. His agility, it was just incredible, and you can see now why he played in England.
If he's familiar face to some Sky Sports viewers, that is because this isn't his first appearance on Sky. This was his Premier League debut for Southampton against Newcastle. And I tell you, he played his part in a thrilling 3-3 draw. Watch this for a save. Absolutely incredible. Gordon Banks-esque, and off the head of no less a striker than Alan Shearer. He's amazingly agile, isn't he?
He is. He's tremendous. You know, there's a lot of people who are quite surprised while the big man's back home again, you know, with that, you know, level of ability, that talent. And certainly I was mightily impressed with him the day we played against him. And
there he is, lapping the crowd up in the Premier League, and of course being congratulated by some of the fans and some of his players at Southampton, including Chris Baird, Northern Ireland international there just in the picture. Of course now at Fulham, but he actually started his career at Ballymena United, as a lot of players have, David. It's a great history in this club.
Well, you mentioned earlier on Nigel Worthington, you know, being here, and I remember, you know, Nigel being here before he was transferred to Notts County. It's a hotbed for football down here. They really do love their football, very passionate. I would liken them at times to Newcastle United. You know, that they don't get the success that they deserve, and yet their fans are so very passionate, support their club through thick and thin, and they were hoping that the season would turn around for them maybe a lot quicker than it has done.
Well, let's hear what Roy Walker has to say about that. He's the Ballymena United manager. He and the Newry City manager, Gerry Flynn, are both with Paul Gilmore.
Roy, a disappointing start to the season, but it's picked up recently. What's changed?
Better defending, less careless mistakes, and being a little bit more difficult to beat. I think, in simple terms, Paul, that's been just it. We haven't made those mistakes that were just so desperately disappointing at that time.
Talking of better defending, Albert Watson back in to form the first choice centre-back pairing. How much of a boost is that tonight?
Well, it's a good boost because Albert's obviously mobile, he's pacey for a central defender, and it's good to get him back in, yeah.
And it's a chance to leave the bottom of the table for the first time in 2 months. Is that the main priority?
Absolutely, that's well put. Actually, it's the first time in over a series of games that we have the opportunity where the ball's quite firmly in our court. Know what we do. If we win, then we're there.
Gerry, a solid finish last season. Have you got the capacity to push for top 6?
That's what our aim is. We should be looking to get 3 points tonight. We've been on a good run, albeit we've drawn too many games. We're looking to put that right over the next couple of games.
A number of changes for the League Cup game midweek. Has tonight's team selection been a tough one after scoring 6 against Ards?
It has. Over the 2 games we scored 11 goals, and the boys done well in the cup games, but so did the boys who have just come in from the game against Linfield, and I thought it was unfair to change a drawing side, but they performed well and they keep their places for tonight.
And Ballymena have beaten the league champions already this season. Are they in a false league position?
Yes, they have really good players there up front as well, and Kevin Kilby, but we're hoping to keep him quiet. We've been tight so far this season. We're hoping to continue, and also hopefully the strikers can get us a few goals tonight and get us maximum 3 points.
Thanks, Gerry. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, David, as Gerry was alluding to there, Newry City really the draw kings so far this season. 8 draws already in the league, 6 draws in their last 10 games in all competitions. How do they get out of that habit?
Well, it's about scoring goals. You know, we played them last weekend. It was a very tight game. Gerry and I will probably disagree on who should have won the game. We maybe thought we should have shaded it. We had a penalty turned down. But they're a good...
fairly apoplectic after that game. I remember you took on a strange hue of purple.
Sort of. Blustered blood vessel. But, you know, they're an excellent side. And Christopher Morgan and Stephen Garrett, both players who I know who were both at Linfield. Great strikers, great skill, and I'm surprised they haven't scored more goals. And Richard Clark in the middle of the park, they have an absolute diamond. What a superb player. And it'll be interesting tonight, Graham, how they'll do without Michael Collins. Michael is a tremendous midfield player. Cliftonville Portadown, then has come to Newry. He's been playing at the back, and Michael went off against us with a hamstring injury. So it'll be interesting to see how they cope with him without Michael this evening.
Yes, the midfield battle is going to be probably one of the key areas, I would say, tonight, wouldn't it? Because both sides have a few injuries and a few people out with suspension. Who do you expect will dominate in that?
Well, I would think Richard Clark will come out top man. They've got, you know, at Ballymena will Gavin Mealock, who's done exceptionally well this year. A very underrated player, great engine, and will get up and down. It's also going to be interesting about the 2 formations, because Ballymena will play their 4-4-2. Newry have been employing a 3-5-2. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, what formation, what shape turns out to be better on the evening.
Great, well, let's take a check on the formation and the teams. Our commentary team is Gerry Armstrong and first Mark Robson.
Yes, welcome to the highest of the Irish League stadiums here on the volcanic Antrim Plateau, home of Ballymena, and their manager Roy Walker has Albert Watson back in defence after an ankle injury. It's a 4-4-2 formation with club captain Gary Haverin alongside Watson, with two teenage fullbacks, Lee Colligan and Thomas Burke. In midfield, look out for the ultra-competitive Gavin Meloch, while up front, Ballymena, despite their lowly league position, have two men who can score goals. Neil Teggart and Kevin Kelby have a dozen between them this season. Gerry Flynn's Newry side plays a 3-5-2 formation, which becomes a 5 at the back when on the back foot. Ian Curran starts for powerhouse Mickey Collins, who picked up a hamstring injury against Linfield last week. In the midfield, captain Richard Clark was man of the match against the Blues and has been attracting admiring glances from other sides in the JJB Premiership. Up front, the very experienced and decorated Chris Morgan is alongside Newry's top scorer, Stephen Garrett. Well, Ballymena's bench includes Aaron Stewart, the son of reserve team manager Alfie Stewart, Alfie a former Glentoran and Portadown legend, and Mark Picking, who won 2 Irish League titles with Linfield. And on the City bench, it's the Newry version of Kevin Keegan, this one as a former Northern Ireland under-18 international. Well, 2 kids from each of 15 primary schools in the Ballymena borough designed a fantasy Ballymena kit of the future. Here are a few examples and some fabulous artwork from all involved. And here are some of those kids helping as mascots tonight for their beloved Ballymena club. Ballymena currently bottom of the JJB Sports Premiership, but are unbeaten in the last 5 league games against Newry City at their Showgrounds home. 3 wins, 2 draws. Going further back, Ballymena have lost just 1 of the last 18 league games between the sides at home, and this was 1-0 in January 2001. Can Newry break that long hoodoo this evening? Well, both games last season ended in 2-2 draws. 6 of the last 10 meetings have ended in a draw. The last 4 in all competitions have ended in draws. Who will come out with a victory tonight? Ballymena's biggest win, 8-0 at Newry in December 1994. Will we get a goal fest this evening? Well, Ballymena are unbeaten in their last 5 home games, 3 wins and 2 draws. Newry have won just 1 of their last 18 to Ballymena, as I mentioned. Newry's next goal, though, will be their 50th in the league at Ballymena. The first half live next.
Welcome back to the Ballymena Showgrounds. It's Ballymena United against Newry City in the JJB Sports Irish Premiership this evening. 2 country clubs, both hoping to progress up the table. Newry City currently in 8th, and Ballymena United currently bottom of the table. A win tonight would take them off the table just before the game gets underway. Of course, it's 90 years tomorrow since the end of the First World War. Both sides now preparing to honour the minute's silence.
Thank you.
minute silence, impeccably observed as you would expect. Time for the action now. Your commentary team, Gerry Armstrong and Mark Robson.
Well, November very much a crunch month for Ballymena. They played Dungannon away, Institute at home and Glenavon away. All sides around them at the bottom of the league table. Ballymena began the league campaign with a 5-1 loss here to Cliftonville and have in fact only had one league win. 2-0 against the champions Linfield last month, but Gerry Armstrong, some of their better performances have been against the Belfast Big Two.
Yes, I was speaking to Roy Walker earlier and he's very confident, he's full of praise for his players. He feels they're in a position now that they can step on, and they have beaten Linfield here, so why can't they beat anybody else?
Well, Newry's last outing was in midweek when they beat Ard 6-1 in the Insurance Cup to wrap up a resounding 11-2 aggregate win, and then on the Saturday before in their last league game Newry drew 1-1 with Linfield. David Jeffrey, as he pointed out, pretty furious the Blues were not given a last-minute penalty, but Jerry Flynn also thought he had a stonewall penalty denied for handball. And Newry in the yellow shirts tonight, Ballymena in their traditional light blue, the sky blues of Ballymena United here at the Showgrounds. Kevin Kelby from Stirling, the Scotsman, the first decent ball played into the box. And Newry get it away. Gavin Meloch gets it back to Gary Haverin, the captain, the club captain. Can play in midfield. A good central defensive partnership he's built up with Albert Watson, who's wearing 5 tonight. Watson, they thought he'd broken his ankle here a couple of weeks ago against Glentoran, but he's back in action. Neil Teggart up front with Kevin Kelby. One of Roy Walker's signings is Neil Teggart. Another sharp challenge going in there. The flag stays down on the far side as the ball is played through by Alan Davidson.
Well, for all our watchers, Mark, you know, one of the things you're going to see here is commitment, and it's a greasy surface tonight, and the players will put plenty of commitment. The 50-50s will well and truly be contested, and that's what makes it such an interesting game. Ballymena at the bottom looking to move off the bottom.
Away by Friars. 2 Friars brothers playing in this Newry side this evening. Emmett and Sean. Emmett playing at the back, and here is Sean now. And he's got Garrett in the penalty area, and Chris Morgan as well, the long serving Chris Morgan. He's been around 32, and the ball little bit high, a little bit long from Ross Black, the son of Johnny Black, famous Irish League footballer, who has another son playing for Crusaders, Aaron.
It's good skill, good little Cruyff turn and decent cross to the far post. Good play as well from Sean Friars, who's a very talented attacking midfield player, good left foot, and could cause a problem to the Ballymena side tonight.
Up goes Friars with a challenge on Teggart and wins it. And now it's won by Darren King. And that's no problem for Alan Blaney, 27 years of age now. You saw that save at the start of the programme from Alan Shearer, Belfast born, joined Ballymena from Bohemians in March. The Bows winning the League of Ireland comfortably this season. Their season finishes much earlier than the Irish League. It's Albert Watson who wins the ball. Gavin Meloch, who's an extremely competitive young man, and he plays the ball through, and across comes Friars, and Friars gets his toe on the ball. Kevin Kelby steaming forward.
Yeah, there was a slight bit of hesitation with Ian Curran. He wasn't sure who was going to clear the ball. In the end, they got the job done, but I'm allowed to be told the front two, Teggart and Kelby, are strong and quick.
Well, it shouldn't have been a problem for the Newry defence there. There was 3 of them around the ball, but nobody was conclusive. Stuart King is challenged, and the throw-in goes Newry's way. And it was Ross Black again, born in Larne, the 22-year-old, from where he was signed. That's Garrett, top scorer. Free kick to Ballymena. Albert Watson looking to take it quickly. I watched Ballymena train on Saturday morning for a couple of hours. They certainly didn't train like a basement side. There was a lot of enthusiasm about it. They were very sprightly. And Roy Walker seems to have begun to pull things together here.
I think Roy Walker's trying to be the Harry of the league. He's hoping to emulate Tottenham and take them off the bottom of the table. And I think confidence plays a big part, Mark, and you're winning games. And players are scoring goals then, obviously. It's going to make a difference.
Roy Walker, the Harry Redknapp of the Irish League, yeah. I think he'd like that. Here come Newry again. Once more looking for those front two to run onto, Chris Morgan and Stephen Garrett. And also pushing up from midfield was Alan Davidson, in for Stephen Ferguson, who's suspended for this game, having been sent off against Coleraine. This Ballymena side haven't won a trophy since 1989. It was the Irish Cup. 1-0 against Larne, and the goal scorer was Paul Hardy, and I still remember the headlines the following day: laurels for Hardy.
I like it, Robbo.
Those were the days down here in Ballymena. They also won the Irish Cup under Jim Platt in 1984, a former teammate of yours, Gerry.
Yeah, he's not too far away from this part of the world, in Coleraine. That was where he used to play his football.
Little flick forward there from Ian Curran, but comes off a Ballymena player. Kevin Kelby, as David Jeffrey mentioned at the start of the programme, Linfield were chasing him until the very last day of the transfer window, and the feeling was that it took him time to settle after that. He felt he was maybe going to Linfield, couldn't get his head on straight for the first month or two, but now settling into some goal-scoring form.
Yeah, 3 in his last 5, which is encouraging, and of course his striking partner as well, Neil Teggart, is 7 in 17, so it's encouraging.
And a good signing as Teggart. Here's Gavin Mealoch. He was a very angry young man during training on Saturday, Gavin Mealoch. Well, angry, maybe not the right expression. Certainly exceptionally competitive. Ballymena's player of the season last season, the number 8. And Alan Blaney launches one forward. Up goes Kelby, but he's comfortably beaten in the air there, and it's going to roll all the way through to Albert Watson. And back to Alan Blaney, who's also at Bournemouth, Southport, Brighton, Doncaster, and has won cap for Northern Ireland, the Ballymena goalkeeper. No problem for Friars. He finds Davidson, and he's harried by Joe McDonnell, and he's harried illegally. The free kick to Newry, and it's taken by Feeney, Cullen Feeney. Lee Colligan playing at left back, and a player, I'm told by Roy Walker, with an exceptional future. And now they're doing well here. Ballymena, the first save of the game from Kelby, and it was Paul Murphy getting down well at his post there.
This is
and
a
that's
good
what
save.
Kelby can do.
This is a good save, Mark, because he doesn't see an awful lot of it. There's defenders in front of him. It hits the surface. There's a great strike from Kelby, and that's a good piece of goalkeeping from Paul Murphy.
Now the corner for Ballymena, but far too much depth on that. And Roy Walker almost getting the early breakthrough for his side. Ballymena there. Roy Walker, famous for leading Crusaders to 2 Irish League championships in the middle to late 90s. Goes Black. It's Davidson forward again, over Garrett up on his own up front this time, and back to Paul Murphy, former Ballymena. It's put on the transfer list by Roy Walker. Little point to prove tonight, the Newry goalkeeper. Newry might try one from range here on it. Here's a chance, and it's a goal. It's 1-0 to Newry. That's the breakthrough that they wanted. What a strike it was, but a bit of weakness at the back perhaps. It's Darren King with the finish. But what was happening in the Ballymena back 4 here, because King on the far side here, unmarked in the end.
Well, it's a deflection. He's fortunate because Darren King is in the right place at the right team. It's a shot that's deflected into the path of Darren King, and he sticks it away. It's a great first-time finish. No chance for Blaney, and first blood to Newry Town.
Well, the 23-year-old scores the goal. He's just signed a 2-year contract extension in May of 2008 and his first league goal of the season. And what an important one it could be for Newry. And it's King in possession now for Ballymena. Teggart to King and Meloch forward. And Newry playing with a bit of confidence and urgency after that goal. That was Clark, but the ball played forward by King. And good covering by the goal scorer, Darren King. Well, the ball came off Joe McDonnell into no man's land where there was acres of space for the scorer.
Well, that's where your luck comes in, Mark. You know, he was in an opportunistic position. Deflection, Joe McDonnell didn't know an awful lot about it. The deflection from the shot dropped it right into the path of Darren King, and he stuck it back in the net. And that's a happy man, Gerry Flynn. He was telling me, you know, they've been so close to winning 2-3 of those 8 draws, which could have put them up the top of the table, and they've got some good players, got some injuries as well. Michael Collins out at the moment, and obviously Lee Feeney's another key player who's out at the moment. Add them to the squad, and Newry's got a decent side.
Yeah, Mickey Collins, such an important player, such a strong man in this Newry side, part of their spine. And Alan Blaney beaten here at the Ballymena Showgrounds by Darren King. And Ballymena strike back. Here's Kevin Kelby, but he loses possession. Again, the ball played through for Garrett. And as Watson marking him, and now Lee Colligan. Really pushing up here in numbers. Ross Black on this left-hand side. Chris Morgan wearing 9. Interesting character, Chris Morgan. He's won league championships with Linfield and Crusaders, as well as Glentoran. That's Friars and Feeney at the back for Newry. This is Chris Morgan. Neil Teggart almost gaining possession. There were runners to the right-hand side there for Teggart. Stuart King was one of them. Friars plays it forward, but no problems at all for Alan Blaney this time.
It's a difficult ball when you're knocking a straight ball down the middle. Once it hits this wet surface, it's always going to favour the goalkeeper. And Friars is chancing his arm a little bit, but they've got a 1-goal lead. That'll give them confidence away from home. Can they build on it?
Emmett Friars, who scored the equaliser against Linfield last week. Friars with the throw in. Black was in with a challenge, and King for Ballymena. That's Gavin Meloch showing there an example of what I was saying about his competitiveness. This is Emmett Friars, the 23-year-old, has played every minute of all of Newry's league games so far. Supporters player of the season last season, Emmett Friars. This is Kelby. Newry in the form of Sean Friars. Stephen Garrett the chase, who's got a bit of pace, but not that much. Need to be Usain Bolt to get on the end of that ball. And here come Ballymena again through Thomas Burke. Friars with the challenge. And that's Neil Teggart. 7 goals this season. Played for Perth Glory in Australia for a while under Steve McMahon, the former Liverpool great. Can't keep the ball in play. I mentioned earlier on in the programme, Nigel Worthington, famous son of Ballymena United, signed from here by Notts County for £125,000. It was then a record signing. And I'm sure Steve Davis of Rangers is watching as well tonight, Ballymena man. And here comes Stephen Garrett. The ball's too much for him. Stephen Davis, who set up one of the Rangers' goals against Kilmarnock yesterday. We have had one goal tonight, and this is how it happened, Gerry.
Well, it's one of those things that happens in football. Sean Flowers has had a pop shot. It's deflected into the path of Darren King, and he takes the chance. It's a good first-time finish, and look at the reaction from Gerry Flynn. He's happy with that after, well, less than 10 minutes.
So we talked about the defence. Can you blame the defence when that happened?
Well, there's certain things that you can actually pick fault in. You know, should they have closed the attempted block on Sean Flowers quicker? But at the end of the day, it's a deflected shot that falls into the path of an attacking wing-back. And maybe all credit should be given then to Gerry Flynn for playing 5 in the middle of the park. They push on and they've got the reward.
It's a bit unfortunate perhaps. Here's Clark Linfield, we know, are interested in this young fella. Clark plays the ball in, not a bad ball into the box. The wind drifting it forward, wind blowing very strongly from right to left at the Showgrounds tonight. And goes away for the goal kick. It was blowing much more furiously earlier on today. It settled down. The ball, if the wind had maintained its strength, would have been behaving out there a bit like a cork at a washing machine. But thank goodness that gale has settled into just a strong wind.
It stopped raining as well, Mark, and it's relented. It was pouring down earlier on. I'm pleased for the players and the fans who have turned up tonight. And we've got a game on our hands. Now here's Garrett.
That was from Ian Curran too, the ball for Stephen Garrett. And there's an example of that pace we were talking about. And Colligan with a good challenge there. The teenager, just 19 years of age, who joined from the Shankill Juniors and is believed to have a big future. Newry. Sean Flowers and Ballymena just struggling to get the ball away. They do now, and it's Feeney who pumps it back in. Kelby. I think a man from Stirling wouldn't need to wear a pair of gloves, Gerry.
Surprised he's allowed to get away with it. I know John Barnes and Luther Blissett used to when I was at Watford, but that's understandable under the circumstances.
Neil Teggart's wearing a pair as well, you say, so
maybe it's a striker's thing, I don't know.
Well, the hard men at the back never wear gloves, do they, Joe? So we've got a Roy Delap type throw, not quite with that sort of distance or penetration on it. The ball towards Teggart at the edge of the box. And that's Chris Morgan flicking the ball on for Stephen Garrett. They do try to use his pace there. Really enjoying a fair amount of possession in this first half so far. Their best Premiership finish, by the way, 4th in the late 90s. When they qualified for the Inter-Total Cup and made the second round. It's Clark. And Meloch puts Albert Watson and his central defenders under a little bit of pressure there.
Isn't going to take any chances with that one.
Albert Watson, a Northern Ireland under-23 international. David Jeffrey, of course, selects that squad. Here come Newry again. Flowers gets the cross in. Ballymena defence this time deal with it with assurance. This is King looking for Teggart. Back goes Flowers. Looks for Murphy. Remember, he's already been called into action by Kevin Kelby in this game. King. Flowers. Nuggety central defender is Emmett Flowers. Hard to get past. In comes Garrett, and now Black, and good skill from Black, and he's brought down there by Albert Watson, who gets a yellow card. Well, he was beaten by the skill of Black on the outside.
That's great play from Ross Black here on the left-hand side, and he skipped past the challenge, but Watson wasn't going to let him away. And one of those mistimed challenges, plenty of commitment, but I don't think there was any malice in it, and the yellow card has been dished out, and the free kick's about to be taken by Sean Friars.
Former Northern Ireland under-21 captain floats the ball in, good header, but straight at Blaney there, and Friars coming up from the back, and he really is dangerous in those situations, as he proved last week against Linfield.
Yeah, it's a good header from Emmett Friars. His brother Sean is the one provided the free kick. Good spell for Newry at the moment, Mark, I've got to say.
Well, there's plenty of brotherly love there, because it is quite often that Sean Friars does provide those balls for Emmett.
Well, he's having a lot of time in the ball, a lot of space, and a lot of time to create things, Sean Friars. He's probably one of the most technical players on the park, and I just feel Ballymena need to get closer to him. It was a good turn from Garrett.
Now Garrett, there's nobody with him, may not need anybody. Out comes Blaney, and well saved by Blaney, who just took a little bit of time to come off his line.
Well, I thought he got it right, because the touch, I think, is what let Garrett down. He's coming through, Stephen Garrett, and really should have done better the second touch. And when it was a heavy touch, that was the signal for Alan Blaney to come out and spread himself.
This is good work by the goal scorer King, and Garrett arm on the air looking for the ball on that right touch line this time. Chris Morgan in the penalty area. Clark gets it back in for Friars.
Oh, he's mobile, Garrett, isn't he? Out on the right wing there, great run across the far post for Sean Friars. And let's have a look at Alan Blaney's good save there a few seconds ago. This is where it comes from. Mistake there, and Garrett's away. Stephen Garrett takes that touch too heavy. Out comes Blaney. He sees that the touch was heavy and makes an excellent save.
That is one cap against Romania in 2006 as a substitute. Friars again. A chip ball through Colligan. A little soft touch from Colligan back to Blaney.
Excellent play from Colligan. Very good.
Oh, and Feeney straight over his head. Teggart to King. Kelby on the edge of the box. King a little bit on his own here and tries to play it through the centre of that Newry defence. Feeney was there. And Burke to Stuart King. Thomas Burke. Kelby. Oh, good turn by Kelby. And that's Clark who gets his foot in. And here's Joe McDonnell to Albert Watson. Albert Watson looks for a long ball over the top, and Friars is there for Newry. In comes Miloch. Friars away. And Burke forward for Kelby's nod. Teggart for Kelby to chase on to, and a lot of decent mopping up work being done by Newry at the back so far.
Just don't think they're getting an awful lot of service to the front too. Kelby and Teggart could do with a better service for me, and that's the man there. Stuart King is the one who can give them the width on the right and provide that service.
Murphy. Wow. They're playing into a strong wind in this first half for Ballymena.
Joe McDonnell was almost on the end of that one.
Flag is up on the far side. It's not against Chris Morgan, it's Garrett, I think, who was caught.
I think the assistant referee minds who was caught. He's just keeping his flag up and letting the referee get on with it.
So Alan Blaney launches one into the breeze. Friars again gets there first, and Clark nods it on, but he's fouled there. Free kick to Newry. Friars takes it from completely the wrong place.
I think he stole 5 or 6 yards there, Mark. The referee was quite correct. Mr. Colin Burns, he's making sure it's taken from the right spot.
These two sides, 8th and 12th in the Irish League, the JJB Premiership. And Ballymena, of course, need a victory tonight to get themselves off the bottom of the table. Dungannon Swifts above them. Free kick to Newry. won by Darren King. So he's had a significant contribution in this first half. And Newry packed the penalty area as you would expect. You could throw a blanket over the lot of him at the moment. Alan Blaney, well focused there, and it's straight into his arms. Again, it was Friars up from the back making the challenge.
And it was the other Friars with the free kick as well. He just overcooked it. Again, the wind was a little bit strong, left-footed from the right side and too close to Alan Blaney. It was the easy pickings. That's a difficult one to deal with, and has a half a chance for Teggart.
Teggart given a wee bit of space there. Now King, can he get the service in? Can he get to the byline for the first time? And a good challenge coming in there from Black. By the way, Friars overcooked it. Was that a pun on purpose? Pretty clever. Ballymena look to get back into this game. That's Kelby. King's cross. No one there to challenge for the ball. And away by King. Darren King. Gavin Meloff. A little bit of space for Stuart King here, but it's very deep. Now here's Thomas Burke. Back into King in midfield. Shaping himself into the breeze. And straight at Murphy.
Good effort. Definitely good effort. That sort of shot can zip off the surface and rebound off the goalkeeper, and people following up. And here comes Sean Friars starting another move down the left-hand side.
And it's Black getting the ball. Oh, well, he didn't get it into anybody's feet except Joe McDonald's. It was Alan Davidson who tried to gather possession, and the flag's up on this near side.
Well, this is a shot, and you can see Stuart King coming inside on his left foot. Long way out, but he hits it well. Keeper sees it late. Murphy, and it zips off the surface, and it's well collected in the end.
McDonald with the ball. Teggart up front. Gavin Meloff forward. Friars to Murphy.
Well, they seem to have it sorted out at the back, this three-man centre back, and you've got Ian Curran is one of the centre backs. You've got Curran Feely is the other one, and Emmett Friars. The three of them, two of them pick up, and the other one drops off and marks. And as long as they keep it like that, it's going to be pretty comfortable, unless Ballymena can do something different. And I feel if they can get the ball out wide to Stuart King on his right-hand side, he may be the person that can provide them with the ammunition down the right-hand side. Although Ross Black will have something to say about that. He's the left wing back playing for Newry.
And of course, Black and King, they drop back then to help that central three. And it's part of the reason why Newry are the draw specialists of the JJB Premiership with 8 this season so far. And that's Davidson forward for Stephen Garrett, and Stephen Garrett is offside. Again, Culligan. Little bad ball forward, and Kelby chases, and back there goes Curran. Cleared by Feeney. Flick on by Garrett for Chris Morgan. Control has to be precise here from Gary Haverin. Goes King. And now Clark. Clark plays the ball through for Garrett. And Carling Cup coming up on Sky Sports, 7:30 on Sky Sports 2 and HD2. Arsenal against Wigan. And in the same competition, Tottenham against Liverpool on Sky Sports 1 on Wednesday at 7 o'clock and Sky Sports HD1. So 28 minutes played here at the Ballymena Showgrounds, and Alan Blaney has been beaten once by Darren King. Colin Feeney. And again, this time the ball goes off a Ballymena player. Colin Feeney, by the way, is the cousin of Warren Feeney, the Northern Ireland international striker.
Yep, the two fathers, brothers. Stephen played as a full-back at Bangor when I was playing for Bangor, and his brother Warren played for Glentoran.
Good to see young Warren Feeney scoring his first competitive goal for Dundee United at the weekend.
He's a good lad, Warren. Good attitude, and did a good job when he was on loan at Swansea. I was talking to Roberto Martinez about him, and he's still a Cardiff player. That's where he came off on loan from, but very honest professional who'll give you 100%. Good ball.
That's a decent ball there for Teggart. And Teggart looking for King. Gerry might he have tried to have a go himself there?
Well, I thought the first time pass into the space because he knew that Stuart King was on his way, and he decided to take a touch, and then he played a blind pass. It was a not too clever pass in my opinion.
This is
the wrong option.
Ian Curran. Newry again winning that important battle in that middle third of the field. And Darren King has had a good first half, punctuated of course by the goal that separates the sides. This is Clark to Black. Black forward, and that's Chris Morgan with the flick, and it comes off. Black and Ballymena again not quite clearing the ball the way they would want to, certainly not the way their manager would want them to. Here's King now. Good strong run by King, and the flag is up a little bit late, but it is up.
Well, it's a tight one. Good run from Stuart King. As I said, he's a player who could have a big influence, and he's burst through the middle here. Let's have a look. Well, he is offside. You can see he's maybe a yard offside, but you know, as a striker you should be looking along the line. You've got Teggart and Kelvey there who've got to look along the line and time their runs better. More encouraging for Ballymena though, Mark.
Stuart King over 100 games for Ballymena as Colin Feeney plays the ball forward. Ballymena 38 goals conceded now this season, and into the penalty area, but no sense of any infringement there. The ball pumped back in again. Now here comes King for Ballymena. Feeney untroubled. Tough season for Roy Walker since taking over from Tommy Wright. One of the games they played this season, they lost 4-1 to the Glens at the Oval, and Roy Walker said, "We were worse than a pub team. You can only work with the tools in the box. Some of ours are blunted and some are rusted." Well, that's one of the quotes of the season.
I don't think Roy minced his words there, Mark.
Well, to be fair to Roy Walker, some of those tools have sharpened up a little in recent weeks, thanks to his tutelage, I'm sure.
Say what you say, Roy.
We should remember too that Ballymena have taken 4 points off the Belfast Big Two in the league. Kevin Kelby, 3 goals in those 2 games. 2-0 they beat Linfield here, and a 1-1 draw with the Glens. They also beat the Glens at the Oval in the Insurance Cup. So Ballymena have proven in recent weeks that they certainly can play. This is Davidson.
Well, they're going to have to find a little bit of fight. We're just over half an hour gone. They've got plenty of time to get back into the game. They've started to look better in the sense that Stuart King's getting more of the ball and he's having more of an influence, and here they are breaking forward once again. That's a great challenge.
Good defence by Newry. Ballymena down to 10 men momentarily. Garrett is caught offside once more. I think that's 3 or 4 times in this first half. And Stephen Garrett has had the flag raised against him.
Well, it's Ian Curran who makes that challenge. He catches him on the follow through. I think that's what happens to him. Catches him on the follow through, and it looks like it's his ankle. It's Ian Mullen who's injured his ankle. Again, a solid challenge from Curran.
Colligan. Tries to hold the ball up and does hold the ball up for Ballymena, but it's Newry again. Here's Garrett. Haveland makes the challenge. Chris Morgan gets it back to Friars. Little flick from Chris Morgan. Now Friars once more forward, but out for the throw-in. There is a day at the Oval that's called Chris Morgan Day. You might remember he scored the goal to beat Linfield 3-2 in April 2005, which secured the title for Glentoran. Alan Blaney coming out strongly there. He's a big man, Alan Blaney.
We get a chance to see Glentoran next week. Mark, this day next week will be Glentoran and Cliftonville.
Yes, that should be interesting, that game at Solitude, where of course Linfield won. Cliftonville were beaten 4-0 by Linfield in our last visit there. Here's King, another good run by King. That's a decent looking ball through. Can he get the cross in? He can, but it's Murphy at the near post. And it's Clark who's brought to the ground there, but no free kick. Thomas Burke gets the ball back. Gavin Meloch was beaten to the ball. Again, looking for it forward to Garrett. Colligan gets in the way. Not the biggest of fullbacks is Lee Colligan.
Garrett's a handful up front, isn't he, as well? He's a real busy player as Curran tidies up once again at the back. And there's lots of little battles being developing here, Mark, but I just feel on this right-hand side, Stuart King has started to have more of an influence, and the more they can get the ball to him, the more I feel that they've got a chance of getting back in. He can provide the ammunition for the front two, Teggart and Kelby. I think that's the way forward for Ballymena.
Chris Morgan. Clark giving the ball away to Meloch. That's not a bad effort from Gavin Meloch there.
Well, he's just capitalised on a mistake. He's won a challenge there. It's come off the heel of one of the players, and he thinks 25-30 yards, I'll have a crack at goal. He's just over the crossbar. Last season's player of the season, Meloch.
Paul Murphy very clear about the dimensions of his goal mouth there. Certain where the ball was going to go. Feeney plays it forward for Morgan. Burke gets it back, and Alan Blaney's clearance. His defenders will not thank him, and Morgan's offside.
Yep. Flag
is up against Newry.
He's a real poacher. It's Chris Morgan just hanging back there, waiting for any mistakes. Unfortunately, he was offside.
Kelby gets it on, looking for Teggart. Now Gerry Flynn, who has played for 8 clubs. He won the league championship while playing for Cliftonville in 1998 and played for Ballymena on 66 occasions. At the moment, guiding his club successfully forward. This 1-0 lead against Ballymena United. Early goal from Darren King. Gary Haveram, big man, plenty of height from the back. Stuart King in the box as well, so too is Teggart. In for a Haveram. Good defending. Feeney does go well. Here's Garrett. Davidson looking for Clark forward. Well, Ballymena not helped by results at the weekend. Glenavon beat Bangor 2-1 at Clandyboy Park. Glenavon down at the bottom with Ballymena and Dungannon. Linfield doing Ballymena a favour by beating Dungannon at Windsor Park. Now Stuart King wants the ball on this right-hand side, wide on the right-hand side, but it's Burke in possession now for Ballymena. Teggart on the far side. Kelby, and a good smothering challenge by Cullen Feeney there again. That's Davidson to Clark. In comes Friars. Now Gavin Meloch. And Stuart King on the right-hand side. 3 Ballymena players in the edge of the penalty area, and good dancing footwork from Stuart King. Can he get a decent cross in, and followed all the way by Richard Clark.
Excellent play once again down the right-hand side from Stuart King to win this corner kick. And set plays, corner kicks can be very important. If you get the big boys up and a good delivery, it could get them back on level terms.
Yeah, Gerry, King does look like the man who could cause the fracture of this Newry defence. Kelby on the far post. Teggart standing on the goal line. Oh. Well, the Newry defence just seemed to stand still there as Gary Havron came charging in. Albert Watson as well alongside him.
Well, have a look at this. I think he missed it. Havron and Watson, he should have headed that. I think it's a great opportunity there for Gary Havron. He was behind Albert Watson. Watson attacked it. It went over the top of his head, but Havron didn't really make any contact, and there's a player down in the box. Well, this is the difference between the two sides at the moment, Mark. It's 39 minutes ago, and this is the difference. Opportunist moment that falls kindly for Sean Friars. He has a shot. It's misdirected off a defender, falls into the path of Darren King, and he sticks it in the back of the net, and it's 1-0, and that's the difference between the two sides.
So 5 minutes to go to half-time. Newry clinging on to this lead at the moment. It looks like Friars may be going off for some attention. Doesn't look as if he's struggling. Maybe one of that weird rule where they go off and then come straight back on again. It's Colligan. He plays it forward. And that's for Garrett. They do love to play those speculative balls through for Garrett to chase on to Newry.
He's got plenty of pace. He's a willing worker. He runs the channels well. But when you knock a straight ball like that, Mark, on a wet surface, it's always going to favour the goalkeeper. The pace has got to be absolutely spot on.
Friars did go off and come straight back on again, as we thought he might. This is Feeney. Feeney back to Murphy. Ballymena's produced some very famous individuals. The Reverend Ian Paisley, Willie John McBride, Dr. Sid Miller, the head of the IRB, as well as footballers like Nigel Worthington we mentioned. Oh, and a flying lunge coming in there from Kevin Kelby, and a yellow card straight away from Colin Burns.
He's gone in. That's a really bad challenge. He's gone in with both feet, Kevin Kelby, and he's fortunate it's only a yellow card, and Darren King has really taken the full brunt of that challenge.
Well, I'm sure that hurt. Not quite sure, but Kevin Kelby was thinking about there, because it was a challenge that looked to have intent.
It's a silly challenge. You can't make two-footed challenges like that on a park like this in wet conditions. You look at it, he launches both feet, and that's a scissors. They're both off the ground. I mean, I've seen red cards given for a lot less than that, so he's fortunate it's only a yellow card. Well, credit to the referee, Mr. Burns. He's done very well so far for me.
Morgan. That's away by Watson. King, a good challenge there. Coming in from Alan Davidson. Very late inclusion in this side, Alan Davidson, due to that Ferguson suspension. And Black fails to keep the ball in play. Throw into Ballymena. Burke looking to take it quickly. Just a couple of minutes to go to the break. There's a bit of added time. Here's Garrett, and plays a good ball for Clark here. Can Morgan hold the line? He was waiting for the ball to be chipped through for him. Didn't quite come.
Good burst of pace from Richard Clark through the middle.
So Ross Black for Clark, who made the run, but it was McDonald who got in the way there, and Feeney plays it forward. Is Black going to get there? No, he's not. Newry, by the way, have launched a DVD in the last couple of weeks entitled The Way Forward, in the hope of attracting commercial sponsors. They've also launched a youth academy this season, and the under-12s and 13s are top of their leagues, plus a learning disabilities team and a girls team. So there's a very proactive ethos at Newry City. They're also planning an all-seater stadium. Deadly serious about being a top side in the future. And they're the top side at the moment, leading by a goal to nil with half-time approaching. Stuart King, there's the strength of the wind demonstrated there. In comes Colligan, bravely. As was Feeney, to be fair. Now Garrett forward. Havering.
It's an excellent challenge from Gary Havering, but I think he's injured himself. Clash of heads, referee spotted it straight away. Very brave Gary Havering coming to win the ball.
Yeah, the club captain Gary Havering, who joined from Coleraine, and a very experienced, important member of this side. And there was the clash with Chris Morgan.
I think he's won the header, and then his momentum's carried him into the back of, well, his head at the back of Chris Morgan's head, and he's okay.
3
Have
minutes.
A little bruise and a bump tomorrow morning, but he'll be fine.
3 minutes at a time, by the way. Gary Havering, who was at Bolton and Wolves, played in the Irish Cup final of 2004. That was for Coleraine, from where he came a year after that cup final. These two sides met on the second weekend of the season. 2-2 draw. Here's Black. It's Morgan who fails to control. Blaney has to be quick, and he's well off his line here if it can be spotted. Here's Flyers. Ballymena had to shut Flyers down there because Blaney was a little bit stranded just for a second or two. And here's Black again to Clark. Straight through to Alan Blaney. No problems at all.
Well, that was a good piece of play from Newry, and Sean Fryers was trying to get the shot off early. Saw Alan Blaney was out of position and couldn't quite put the keeper under more pressure.
Teggart to King. Can King find the key? King again given a bit of room, and we know that he can strike it from that sort of range. Here's McDonnell, and the ball in straight to Phil Murphy, and very simple for the Newry goalkeeper. Ball comes off Colligan. That significant save he made early on, Phil Murphy, you remember. Alan Blaney then with a restart. Meloch. And this is Curran. Kelby. There's the ball off straight to a Newry player. That's not so good, and Morgan tries to flick the ball into the path of Richard Clark. That's Burke to Teggart and King. And the free kick goes to Ballymena. This could well be their final opportunity of this first half. Albert Watson not too happy at all. Another Northern Ireland under-23 international. Made his debut for Ballymena as a 16-year-old. And there's Kevin Kelby up front, the Scotsman. And goes towards Kelby. And it's King who clears the ball away. And that is fairly appropriate because it's Darren King who has scored the only goal of this first half, as Newry City lead by 1-0. Phil Murphy has made one significant save, and Alan Blaney as well has had things to do at the other end. Paul Murphy and Alan Blaney, the goalkeepers, have been involved, but it's Newry City who've scored the 1 goal, and they lead Ballymena United here at the Showgrounds by that 1 goal 2-0.
Yes, it's a cold evening here in Ballymena, County Antrim, but plenty of heat left in the challenges and in that game. We'll be getting the thoughts of the Linfield manager, David Jeffrey, when we come back. Advantage Newry, Darren King with the goal, much to the delight of Gerry Flynn, the manager. David Jeffrey's analysis next. Welcome back to the Newry Showgrounds. Plenty more live football coming for you on Sky Sports. As ever, Arsenal against Wigan tomorrow, 7:30. Sky Sports 2 and HD2. Arsenal in great humour after beating Manchester United, of course. Wednesday, Tottenham, Harry Redknapp's Tottenham against high-flying Liverpool. 7 o'clock, Sky Sports 1 and HD1 for that. Back to here though, it's Newry City 1, Ballymena United 0. Both sides really need a win tonight to move up the table. The Linfield manager David Jeffrey has been watching the action of the first half with us. David, probably imbalance of play, fair enough?
I think it is, Graham. I think first of all it's brilliant having Sky here, brilliant having them cover Irish League football. I just wish it was a better night because it's like a wind tunnel out there. Very difficult conditions, but I think overall first half Newry deserved to be ahead.
Yeah, well, they went ahead after only 9 minutes. Darren King following up like all good wing backs should, I suppose. He's a quick boy and he finished very well, didn't he?
He did tremendously well. As I say, here's the ball out to the other little wing back, little Ross Black. Searching ball forward, really just hopeful more than anything. But here's what Roy Walker will go daft about. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 defenders backing off. Shot by Young Friars, comes off a Ballymena player, and there's little King to put the ball away. Look, that's just a hit and hope. But the wee man does tremendously well, and that is a fantastic finish. Now watch, look at the time and the space. Golly days, you'd be going crackers as a manager to let someone that time and space. And as I say, the little flick come off the Ballymena player, but what a great finish from the wee man, tremendous.
Well, Ballymena, as you hinted, aren't defending particularly well, especially in that goal anyway. But what about up front? What have they got to do to try and get back in level terms here? The main threat, as we talked about before the game, probably coming from Kevin Kelby.
Well, here's a clever little bit of football. As Kevin Kelby started it, he's got the ball back again, and he lets it go, and that's a great save by Paul Murphy. Here's the ball, just nipped inside. Kevin's reading it.
We talked about him before the game. Obviously, you put in a bid for him at the start of the season.
Yeah, that was a shot very similar to the one that he hit against us. Here's another effort, but we'll put you crackers. Big Gary Havern's going up, Albert Watson's going up. Now, look at these two big men. Now, you should have
got ahead on that, shouldn't
you? Well, you should be burying it, to tell you the honest truth. You know, two very, very strong, powerful men, and a good ball in should have been in the back of the net.
Now, one of the things we talked about as well before the game, David, was the type of challenges that we've come to expect in the Irish League. Helen Chamberlain made a comment on Saturday about it being like games from 20 years ago, such as the meat and the challenges. Here's one of them from that man Kelby that we were talking about. Even an Irish League referee can't accept this.
No, well, there's a little bit of frustration coming in because they say they're not getting a lot of service. Is one decent effort to say was well saved, and that's just really a little bit of afters there. But that's part and parcel of football over here, and as I say, while that itself might have been a little bit OTT, as I say, you cannot take away the physical side of the game. That's what makes football the game that it is.
Now, what about the battle of the two managers, Gerry Flynn and Roy Walker? One of them very experienced, Roy Walker. Gerry Flynn only been a year and a half in the job. Who's winning the tactical battle?
Well, I think thus far it's got to go to Gerry Flynn. As I say, Roy is a masterful manager, great success with Crusaders in years gone by. But I've got to say tonight that Gerry's system, his shape, is working very, very well. As I say, they're dominant in the middle of the park. They're cleaning everything up at the back. They've limited the chances that Ballymena have had. And I think thus far, as I say, Ballymena are a little bit devoid of ideas at the moment.
Marching bands, always very popular in Ballymena. We have one here behind us. You might have heard it. There's the big lambeg drum, isn't that right? That's what they call that? Is that a lambeg?
No, that's not a lamb. That's a bass drum. That's a bass drum. My goodness.
Forgive my ignorance.
Yes.
Kalivaki, bass drummer.
Being expertly played, might I say.
Really beating it there. Going to the break now, but this is not a happy man. Roy Walker, the Ballymena manager. Gerry Flynn, much happier. He's in the driving seat. 1-0 to Newry. Second half coming up after the break. Sky Sports Sports is the place to be for live football, especially Irish Premiership football. Next Monday, we're back at Solitude. Cliftonville will take on one of the Belfast Big Two, Glentoran. It's 7:30 on Sky Sports 1 next Monday. Back here, though, it's 1-0 to Newry City, the visitors to the Ballymena Showgrounds. Roy Walker, the Ballymena manager, needs a win. They're bottom of the table. The challenges have been rash. The goals, there's only been one of them, scored by that man, Darren King. He has been the difference, David Jeffrey, hasn't he? And what else has been the difference between the sides?
I think really in the middle of the park, that's where Newry, I think, have been very much in control. Richard Clark, I know I've raved about him beforehand. He's in sort of the under-23 squad that we're taking away to Slovakia next week. He's the kingpin. He's done tremendously well. Also, I've got to say, Cullen Feely at the back. There was one challenge which I don't think we've picked up on, that he just threw himself in front of the ball. He's been very brave, very, very commanding. And then up front, you've got the pace of Christopher Morgan and particularly Stephen Garrett.
Well, they're trailing at the moment, but hope for Ballymena yet, because Newry haven't kept a clean sheet in 12 away matches. Your commentators are Gerry Armstrong and Mark Robson.
Yes, good entertainment at half-time from the Cullibaki pipe band and their bass drum, and also from David Jeffrey, who prefers nowadays to be known as Buster Blood Vessel, it seems. When Ballymena met Newry in the league on the second weekend of the Premiership, it was an 89th minute goal from Richard Clark that saved Newry from defeat, after an 81st minute goal from Gary Haverin had put Ballymena 2-1 up. Will we have a second half of such excitement this time, Gerry Armstrong?
Well, there's promise of plenty of excitement. I just feel that Ballymena need to up the tempo. They need to get more service to the front two, and the man who looked the most likely to provide that was on the right-hand side here. We're talking about earlier, Stuarty King, but as it kicked off.
So Newry playing into this strong wind in the second half and defending that one-goal lead. And Stephen Garrett is hammered onto the stock car track here at the Ballymena Showgrounds. There's a big meeting, by the way, New Year's Eve, when they expect 12 races and a 4-figure crowd.
I was going to say, I believe they still do the races here, so it's New Year's Eve, we'll all be here.
Colligan gets it away. Meloch. Here's Flowers. And now it's Clark. Clark, good effort! And Alan Blaney gets down smartly. And a good throw, great throw by Blaney, and brings King into the play, and Kelby's in the penalty area, and Alan Blaney, well, that was like Pat Jennings, the way he used to throw the ball out.
It was a good save from Blaney initially, I've got to say, so early on in the second half, showed being very attentive, and then the throw was excellent as well, started an attack for Ballymena.
This is Kelby. No problems at all for Paul Murphy. Yeah, I was watching Alan Blaney training on Saturday morning, and he was working hard on that, making the save, getting up quickly, and then getting the ball away quickly.
You know, he saved what would have been a goal, and then within, what, 2 seconds, he started an attack with a fabulous throw. And that man, Stuart King, who I was talking about earlier, he's the one I think Newry need to be worried. They are the draw specialists. They haven't kept a clean sheet in the last 12 games, so surely there's a goal in it for Ballymena.
That's Clark to Black. A lot of players in the penalty. Oh, what a save by Blaney from Chris Morgan. Well, at the start of the programme, you saw the save he made from Alan Shearer. Was that in that league?
That was top class, out of the top drawer. Almost past him, he dropped so quickly to get his hand down. Chris Morgan's done ever so well. Ball coming in, what's this? Just changes the direction, and he's pulled it in. He's gathered it with the left hand and pulled it in quickly so that no one can get any rebound. That's the save of the match for me so far.
Tremendous reaction there from Alan Blaney, as Ballymena have a shot at the other end through Neil Teggart. But it mightn't quite have been in the class of the one he made from Alan Shearer, which was voted by many as save of the season in the 204-205 season in the Premiership. But he certainly showed his agility there, didn't he?
Absolutely, big man, as you say, but got down very, very quickly, collapsed down with his left hand and pulled it in very quickly. Excellent goalkeeping.
Newry could very easily, in the first minute or so of the second half, have been 2 goals to the good here. but for the brilliance of Blaney. And here comes Garrett, flag up again, and he's caught again.
I wonder, will that be decisive at the end of this game? Who's to say? It will not. Have a look at it again from this angle. Drilled in, change of direction, look how quickly he drops down. Fabulous touch from Morgan, and a fantastic, that's the save, definitely the save of the match for me, Mark.
Clark and Murphy. What was Clark thinking about there? It was Liam Mullen who was attempting to scamper through onto the end of it there for Ballymena. Paul Murphy forward then. Won by Haveron. It's Kelby to Burke. And again, straight through to Murphy. Signed in June, won the Irish Cup with Portadown, Republic of Ireland under-19 international. Was with Leeds and Leicester. Clark is Colligan. And no chance of Teggart getting on the end of that one. So they've got big Alan Blaney to thank, that's for sure, Ballymena at the moment. The defensive record here at the Showgrounds for Ballymena and away from home has been very poor, especially earlier in the season. Things have tightened up in recent times. And that's a little flick on for Chris Morgan this time. And Chris Morgan scores for Newry City. Well, Chris Morgan, who scored 4 goals against Ards in the Insurance Cup, including a hat-trick in the first leg, gets a very significant strike here at the Ballymena Showgrounds.
Well, it's one end to the other. Fabulous little touch there, flick on for Chris Morgan. He keeps his composure. They're caught square for me, the back two, the two centre halves for Ballymena, but the finish from Chris Morgan is so emphatic it's untrue. All credit to Stephen Garrett for the little touch, but that's what it's all about there, Mark. 2-goal cushion, and they've threatened that in the opening 5 minutes, and now they've got it.
Well, the two top scorers here at Newry City working beautifully in tandem together, and the 32-year-old getting on the end of that one. Signed from Glentoran in January 2008.
Well, they've got the early cushion, the 2-goal cushion, and Gerry Flynn will want to make sure they don't give up on that. He's complaining to me earlier about giving away goals in the 90th and the 91st minute, but certainly with a 2-goal cushion, he'll feel a lot more comfortable. All the pressure now on the home side, Ballymena.
Albert Watson clears for Ballymena. Such a huge amount of work for Ballymena to do now. And a rather haunted look from Roy Walker. Such an enthusiastic manager. Played a full part in training himself on Saturday. Was very active. And here's Kelby. Can he turn? Can he get the shot in? Lovely stuff from Kelby. Good skills.
Well, his favourite left foot. Everybody thought he was going for a clever little Cruyff turn. And one end to the other. He shows good body strength to hold it up there, Mark. And then this is where he feigns it. Little Cruyff turn, and then the right foot shot. And the goalkeeper, Paul Murphy, well placed to hold on to it. But that's a good response they need to get on the score sheet.
54 goals for Ballymena, Kevin Kelby. Played at Celtic and Rangers as a youth. Well, that's come off Teggart. That's straight through to Paul Murphy. That's Garrett. Remember, he was the man who got that very important little flick through for Chris Morgan to harry on to.
Sean Friars, I think he's hurt himself blocking that one, but it's good to see him putting pressure on the defenders, closing them down. And the game has come to life.
Sean Friars again playing the ball forward towards Chris Morgan. Sean Friars has, would you believe, 21 Northern Ireland under-21 caps, the most ever. Played in the same Liverpool youth team as Stephen Gerrard and Michael Owen, by the way.
Well, he was in the Liverpool youth team when I had him in the Milk Cup side that went on and won the Milk Cup for the first time. Good ball into the box and well defended.
And that was King again. Darren King. Friars forward. Meloch away. Teggart. That's for Colligan to chase. And it's Kevin Kelby getting through plenty of work up front. Gets a decent enough cross in, but that's Friars who's back covering.
What a good header from Emmett Friars. He knew that Teggart was in behind him. He couldn't afford to leave it. This is a good ball in from Kelby. Deep to the far post, and that's well defended from Friars.
He was in just the right spot, wasn't he? Two Ballymena players just waiting to pounce.
There's chances at each end, Mark, in the opening 8 minutes of the game. We've had 4 or 5 good chances.
Here's King. King twists and turns, and McDonnell.
Well, this is the third time you're going to see Murphy getting his body behind the ball. It zips off the surface, and he makes sure it doesn't come back off his chest, which is very important. That's excellent goalkeeping from Paul Murphy.
King. Garrett. You can see him again there. He was looking at that little soft nod on for Chris Morgan. Well, if it's worked once, why shouldn't it work again? Well, he was well marshalled that time, Chris Morgan, by plenty of Ballymena defenders. Here's Meloch.
Well, we'll see it again, but Garrett's not the biggest of strikers, and he's the one that's won that flick on. He got in front of Albert Watson to get that little glancing flick that landed in the path of the goal scorer, Chris Morgan. Very important.
That's Friars, and Meloch is beaten this time by Friars. Good feet from Friars, and Havering. Oh, Morgan was through. But Havering got his left foot in the way. Well, Stephen Garrett is a man I would very much like to get to know, because he's the brother of Miss United Kingdom, Gemma Garrett. Hello, Stephen. How you doing, mate?
He's been warned, Mark, I'm afraid, sorry.
Influential in that second goal. Here's Morgan. Watson. And now Garrett might show his pace here, and his finish! 3-0 to Newry City. Well, Chris Morgan a few moments ago, his strike partner, and now has Garrett sealed all 3 points for the visiting side.
Well, I think he has, and certainly this looks like the killer blow. Lovely little ball over the top. He's been a live wire all night. He's looking to play off the shoulder of the last defender. He does that well, and he's in on it in a flash, and his finish is so emphatic. And Blaney's been excellent, but even he can't save this one here. Great finish, and I just do feel he's deserved that goal. And look at the joy with Gerry Flynn. He's well chuffed.
Well, the management team are delighted, and why not? Peter Murray in there, and Stephen Beattie, 2 fine players in their own right. Stephen Beattie, formerly of Linfield, and Peter Murray of Cliftonville and Portadown. And Ballymena making a change and bringing on Aidan Watson, double substitution in fact. Thomas Burke has gone off. And McNeil is on as well. Paul McNeil, now they're going to need his pace up front. He's very, very quick. He scored 2 goals for the reserves on Saturday. He also scored against Newry in April at the end of last season in the 2-2 draw.
Double sub from Roy Walker. He knows they've got to do something. They need a goal. And I think it's too much for them now. They need more than 1 goal. They need 3 goals to get a draw. And even that, I think, is beyond them at the moment, because Newry's been so emphatic in the opening 10 minutes of the second half. They had a couple of great chances. Blaney kept them in it, but they will not be denied. Chris Morgan got the second, and then the player who's impressed me the most for Newry tonight, Stephen Garrett, has got the third.
Kelby, can they make a start here, Ballymena? King couldn't get on the end of that. Difficult for Roy Walker, though. He's had to inherit the Tommy Wright squad. He resigned. at the end of last season. Now it's Friars for Clark. And that's Morgan. Strong challenge from Gary Haverland, and again it's Garrett trying to use that electricity that seems to throb through every vein.
He's brave, Mark. I tell you, he's got pace, but he's got loads of energy. He's worked the channels really well tonight, and good combination. Stephen Garrett and Chris Morgan up front. A goal apiece, and Newry are winning by 3-0. And I wonder, is there any more goals in it for Gerry Flynn?
Another glum-looking bunch there, the Ballymena fans, and now Newry going for a fourth here. Garrett to King and Clark. Haverland clears.
I just feel the confidence is a little bit low at the moment with Ballymena fans and Ballymena players. They have conceded more goals than any other team in the league, and they've scored the fewest as well, so things aren't looking good for them at the moment.
Donald, Colligan, Clark, and that's a good run by Stephen Garrett. And the Newry fans on this side want a free kick against Albert Watson, which they're not going to get.
I think he had an argument, Stephen Garrett. He's done very well, clever. He gets inside Albert Watson here, and then he's trying to get past him. Is there a push there, or did he just lose his foot? Combination maybe of both.
Garrett, who began his career at Linfield, rain begins to tumble down again. The Silver Spears are back in Antrim. Now here's Watson, Aidan Watson. Good jinking feet from the substitute. And a chance perhaps for Teggart. Well, he tried to place it.
Turned out to be a back pass for Teggart in the end. 7 goals in 17 matches. He could have done with making it 8 there. It wasn't enough power on that shot.
King. That's Morgan. Great touch for Garrett. Well, that was a beautiful little triangle, wasn't it?
Fabulous football down the right-hand side. Darren King, goal scorer, crosses it into Morgan, goal scorer, who cushion passes it to the third goal scorer, Stephen Garrett, and he woofs it just wide of the far post. If you're going to miss it, Mark, that's the post you're going to miss it at, but a great ball in.
Almost a Bermuda triangle there for Ballymena. We had 4 goals in our first JGB Premiership match of the season, Cliftonville and Linfield. We might be on for something similar here this evening.
Yeah, the away sides are doing well. Linfield won 4-0 in that.
Remember, Ballymena began their league campaign with a 5-1 defeat here against Cliftonville. And they have shipped a few big totals this season, the Sky Blues. Although in recent weeks things have improved, until now that is. They drew with Cliftonville. They had that win against Glentoran in the Insurance Cup at the Oval, 2-1.
There's one thing that stands out in this league from in the JJB league at the moment, and it's the consistency, or the lack of consistency. You know, we watched Linfield win 4-0 a few weeks ago at Cliftonville. Then the following week they lost 2-1 at Windsor Park in the County Antrim Shield. It shows you there's an inconsistency there, and Newry have drawn 8 games this season, and you look at the way they're playing tonight, they've got lots of goals in them. I just think if you could take their chances at the right time, they would be certainly higher up the table than they are at the moment. But they look like they're heading for an excellent win tonight away from home, Mark.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a 9th draw of the season, that's for sure, for Newry City this evening. Almost called them Newry Town. Of course, they were called Newry Town until a few years ago when Newry gained city status. Here they come again. Garrett, whose pace frightens defenders, and it's Garrett once more. Clark. Oh, and Clark is taken out by Gavin Mealock, who, well, he's about to be suspended. He already has 5 yellow cards this season. He's waiting for that suspension to be applied, and that's number 6, and that wasn't very tasty.
No, it was one of those where he's thrown himself in. A little bit dangerous. Left foot goes out, right foot coming in, and catches him with on a standing leg. Gavin Milo deserves the yellow card, and I think it's born out of frustration. He was their player of the season last year, just trying to close him down quickly, and too enthusiastic.
Well, the wind has certainly dropped here as the rain has increased, so we're not playing into such a strong breeze. Newry City. Clark with the header there.
Thing is, the Newry players don't even know it's raining at the moment. They're happy. They're 3-0 up. They think the sun's shining.
Raining goals.
It's raining goals for them. Okay. Whoops.
Oh.
Can we get a replay of that one from Lee Killigan?
He gets another go. It's like tennis, you see. You get 2 serves. That's more like it. Kelby trying to win the ball there, and Curran's involved. Now it's Colligan. And it's left for Kelby, and what a very strong and beautifully timed challenge there by Emmett Friars.
Had to be good, and he had to get it right. If he gets it wrong, it's a penalty kick. He got the ball, stretched those long legs out there, Emmett Friars, and that's a brilliant challenge. Absolutely brilliant, because you could be sure that Kelby would have been burned down in goal.
King's corner. Oh, not a bad one either. Murphy had to claw the ball away.
Well, good ball in. He flaps at it a bit, Paul Murphy. Happy just to push it away. Good ball in from Stuart King.
Well, it was hammering down when I drove up the M2 earlier on this afternoon. Thank goodness that has eased. It was pretty torrential. Mere drizzle now. It's been a pretty drizzly, miserable night for Ballymena so far. King, Morgan and Garrett with the goals for Newry City. And if Ballymena want to get back into this game, they're going to have to score now, you feel. And King with the free kick, drifts the ball in, good flick on, and there is the goal, and it's Neil Teggart who just got his forehead onto it to redirect the ball past the goalkeeper Murphy. 3-1 is the comeback on.
Excellent free kick from Stuart King, just needs the little touch on it. Teggart provides that. That's a great goal. It's a shame they didn't do this at the start of the first or second half, otherwise it could be a different story. 3-1, a lifeline for Ballymena.
Well, you said at the first half, Gerry, that you felt that Stuart King might be the weapon that could lead to the goal, and that's exactly what happened.
Well, he's quality and he's going to provide ammunition. As I said at the time, they got it from a free kick. On this occasion, it was a super ball with pace on it for Neil Teggart. That's his 8th goal in 18 matches, which is a decent return. But I'm afraid they're trailing 3-1 and they need to score more goals.
Yes, 8th goal in all competitions, 5th in the league as the caption showed there, so maybe hope for Ballymena and for Roy Walker. And it'll introduce some urgency to this Ballymena side.
Well, it will. It'll give them a lift, because you know a lot of the game's about confidence, and certainly they could do with a little bit of a boost, a little fill-up, and that will help them.
It's McDonnell, and it's King, and it's Murphy. King has worked very, very hard tonight for Ballymena. 20 minutes to go, plenty of time for Ballymena.
Well, if they got a second goal, it would be interesting, because maybe the doubts would start to creep in for the draw specialists, Newry. I just feel that 3 goals is asking a little bit much of Roy Walker's men, but you never know in football, never say never.
Just watching Garrett again, there was that little flick and chase, doesn't he, Stephen Garrett? To use that gas of his. Throw in by Flowers. And the ball out of play. That's Clark. And again, the ball played through for Morgan. The flag stays down this time. Really have been caught offside quite a bit. Oh, and here's Garrett! Blaney saves it, and again, they somehow managed to get it away, Ballymena, but they caused themselves all sorts of problems there.
Well, it's a poor kick from Blaney. It's blocked. Then the shot from Stephen Garrett, saved by the goalkeeper. Then Haverland gets in the way as well as the goalkeeper. Excellent defending, and that keeps the match alive.
Well, breathless stuff. Newry, good corner, and Blaney gathers it well though. And it's King. And King goes down. Looks like he wasn't touched there. He just took off like a salmon. And a good run into the box by McDonnell, and Kelby at the far post. Newry are there on numbers. Flowers again at the near post. They had plenty of yellow shirts back. They got back quickly. They had to. Black away and Sean Flowers. Melock, and there's no Ballymena player out there. King, this is Colligan. Claims for a handball, but it's a throw into Newry City. Colligan. Won by Teggart. Melock. And Melock again. Gerry Haverin. A bit of a personal battle there with Chris Morgan. Once more, it's Garrett. He just loves to flick it and turn it and then chase it. And it must be a nightmare for the back four to keep pace with him. No, Ballymena.
They're picking up the loose ball now, Mark.
Or McDonald it is with it this time. And King gets the ball into the danger zone, but Flowers gets it away to his brother.
Just gone off the boil a little bit, Newry, getting sloppy. I think after conceding the goal, maybe they thought 3-0 up, that they've won it, and now suddenly it's 3-1, and they've had another chance at the other end not to increase their lead. This could be interesting the next 5 or 10 minutes.
Watson, he's shown good skills since he's come on as Aidan Watson, and maybe another opportunity. Oh no, it's too short. There was no one on the end of that one, and Clark gets it away for Newry. Haverin. But including tonight, 5 of Newry's next 7 games are away from home. They've won their last away game, 500 yards in the League Cup, 3rd round first leg. But their only away league win this season is 2-1 at Glenavon in October, and this could well be the 2nd one this evening.
Still a bit of work to be done though, Mark. They've just lost that a little bit of initiative. They've got the 2-goal cushion, but they've got to keep it tight at the back and just pick it up a little bit.
So King with a throw in. Clark dropping deep, the midfielder. Haverin. Albert Watson. That's King. Melock. King. On the outside is Colligan. Good run by the fullback. The overlap to the byline at last. Good looking cross. And maybe a chance for McDonnell.
That's a real chance for McDonnell. He should have done better for me. Good ball down the left-hand side here from, well, Stuart King starts it off, and then the full-back Lee Colligan puts in a fabulous cross. Not, well, very well cleared, to be honest, and the shot from McDonnell's very poor. I think he should have done a lot better.
Paul Murphy, Newry City goalkeeper. Pat Jennings, the most famous Newry goalkeeper, signed by Watford from this club many moons ago. Here's Garrett again. Good control on the head by Garrett there. Three players in the penalty area, might run, and it did run indeed there for Alan Davidson.
It's another chance. They should have had this game killed off. Gerry Flynn will not be happy. It's going to be an anxious last 17 minutes.
Davidson again for Garrett to chase. Colligan covers the space. No chance of Neil Teggart getting anywhere near that one. King. Watson to Aidan Watson. And McDonald, as he caught, referee was right there. It was Alan Davidson with the foul. And taken quickly by Ballymena, as they have to by Meloch. Colligan. Good defending by Newry there. Ian Curran it was. So now Davidson for Garrett. Across comes Albert Watson. Gives it a lump and a hoof forward. Aidan Watson, he's tricky, he's very tricky, is Aidan Watson, and he plays the ball through again, the chance, and well, it was Teggart once more.
Angle was tight for Teggart, to be fair. All he could do was hit the target, or maybe he would have been better squaring it for Stuart King at the far post. That was another option. Let's have a look at it again. It's decent ball in. You get fortunate here, he's on the end of it. He doesn't really look up and see that there's anyone else in the box. He's determined to go for goal, and I can't see him really beating Murphy from that angle.
Friars played in for Garrett. Colligan had to be quick there. Davidson flags up against Chris Morgan.
He's sharp, he likes to play off the last defender. It was tight, but the assistant referee spotted it straight away. There's still lots of chances being created at both ends, Mark, but Newry still hanging in there. 3-1, a 2-goal cushion.
King. And the chase. Well, it was almost a wrestling match there involving Ian Curran. Neither player likes it too much. Well, Mr. Burns decides to play on and offers no cards.
Well, I think Curran's waiting on the goalkeeper, Paul Murphy, to come, and
yeah, he did, didn't he, Gerry? He did.
And that's where the problem comes in, and then there's just too much contact after that.
Beautifully put.
I think he wants to get to know him too well for my liking there, Mark.
Little reminiscent of the famous Vinnie Jones, Paul Gascoigne photograph from all those years ago. Jimmy Bullard recently as well.
Yeah, but he wasn't in the wall.
Gary Haver. "13 minutes to go." And King just hammers it high in the air. Doesn't drop for Chris Morgan, and Gary Haveron just boots it into space.
All the pressure still on the home side. You know, they've got to try and find or conjure up a goal from somewhere.
But a 3-1 down, Gerry. You know, they've had their chance. They've got to the byline once. They had the opportunity there from Neil Teggart as well, as Ballymena bring on another replacement. Looks like Mark Picking, who's going to come on for Joe McDonnell. Mark Picking, who won a couple of league titles with Linfield and was in the Manchester United School of Excellence. King. That's McNeil. We haven't really seen his pace so far. Roy Walker did say he was lightning if you give him the opportunity, but Friars solid again, under no pressure.
He's done well, Friars, tonight, I've got to say. And Colin Feeney as well has made some great challenges. Oh,
Meloch. That was McNeil. Paul McNeil, the 20-year-old, born in Ballymena, came through the youth academy. The flag is up against that very gentleman.
Paul McNeil was just looking to see if he could pinch something. Half a chance.
Well, he's a true warrior, Roy Walker, a great competitor, has been all through his career as a player, tremendous player, central defender, and also as a manager. And he will be gutted this evening, unless Ballymena can somehow get a couple of goals in this last 11 minutes. Ooh, Murphy there.
Did he mean that, Mark? He looked as if he picked him out, and Garrett's still up at the other end, making a nuisance of himself. Well, he's come back from an offside position, unfortunately there for Kelvy, and the linesman, the eagle-eyed linesman, spotted that.
You're right, Garrett. He's just tremendous irritation for the opposing defences.
Well, he's made goals and he's scored goals tonight, and very important to the Newry side.
That's a good throw from Colligan. Feeney, and it comes off. Feeney did it, and King came in with a challenge. Mr. Burns has a word.
Well, I think Colin Feeney does so well. He gets his body in there, he's letting it run out, and Stuarty King's frustration. He's trying to stop it going out. There's no way he can do that. He fouls him in the end. Could have got a yellow card, but the referee fought against it.
Colin Feeney was the Players' Player of the season last season here at Newry City. That's Chris Morgan looking for the touch back from Garrett. Now it's Friars, plays the ball through. That's lovely stuff for Davidson. And out comes Alan Blaney. Long ball straight into the arms of his opposite number, Paul Murphy.
Standard of goalkeeping's been very good in the games I've watched, Mark, I have to say.
King. So Stuart King with the throw in to McNeil, and King on the overlap, and it's King, the other King this time, the Newry King, Darren King, with the tackle. Colligan comes up to support, and he's going to take the throw in for Ballymena here. So inside the final 10 minutes, the weather conditions worsening. Colligan, decent looking long throw. McNeil trying to get on the end of it there. Haveron plays it forward. Colligan for McNeil. That's a good ball for McNeil. Back to Colligan, and Clark is there quickly.
Very accomplished Clark. He gets his business done, puts in loads of effort, and solid performance from him as well. It was a good challenge.
A couple of good challenges on the edge of the box. Davidson and Friars is putting the pressure on Aidan Watson. But here come Ballymena again. And they get the cross in towards Meloch. And here's King. King!
Well, that's unfortunate for Stuart King. He puts that over the top because he's played well tonight. I think he's probably been best player on the park for Ballymena, and not really well cleared. Picked up by Stuart King, turns on his right foot, puts it over the top.
Another former Linfield player, Stuart King, that spells at Preston and Southend. These players have been across the water, had their opportunities. That's Watson, Friars, Garrett, King. There's Stuart King back in defence this time. He's covered an awful lot of turf tonight. Arsenal against Wigan in the Carling Cup. Arsenal hoping to build on that victory against Manchester United. 7:30 on Sky Sports, and Tottenham against Liverpool in the same competition. Sky Sports 1 and HD 1 Wednesday 7 o'clock. Well, Sean Friars is going off. And Tony Anderson is his replacement, who began his career at Ballymena. In fact, in the side that was relegated. 26-year-old.
Well, he looks happy enough. He's not really showing too much emotions on his face. I think he's been disappointed in the past before, and he's waiting until the final whistle's blown by the referee here tonight, Mr. Burns. But he's only got, what, 6 minutes left. I think he'll be a very happy man. And that'll take them up the table quite a bit then, wasn't it?
Yeah, 6th with Bangor on 20 points.
Well, probably take them above them on goal difference, won't it? Yeah.
Morgan. This is Black. Oof, strong challenge there from Picking. Kicking. And very committed. It's pretty rumbustious stuff on the Irish League.
It is. It's competitive. It is. That's the nature, and it's good to see players put so much effort and determination. A good skill from Chris Morgan. Couldn't get the shot off though.
Watson gets it away, and that's a very good ball from Watson to Picking. Picking at pace. Gets it into the box, and a good interception again from Emmett Friars. A very fine game in the centre and the heart of that defence.
Excellent interception from Friars. He knew he couldn't let that one go into the 6-yard box. Corner kick. No, what can they do with this?
Albert Watson is in there, helped by the wind, helped too much by the wind.
Well, it's Stuart King, and that's not one of his better ones. Just overcooked it, and deep to the far post. And out for a goal kick.
Another very frustrating evening for the manager, Roy Walker. Loads of endeavour as always, but it looks like no result. Something pretty miraculous happens pretty quickly.
You'd have to say, on the reflection of play throughout the game, most of the opportunities and chances have come to Newry. They've looked the better side. They look better up front, and right attitude, and got it right on the night.
Mulligan straight through to Murphy. Kevin Kelby.
He's had a couple of shots, hasn't he, Kelby? He had one early on that promised a lot on the edge of the box and forced a save from Murphy with his left foot, but after that, you know, we saw bits and pieces. I didn't think the service to the front two was great in the first half hour, and Stuart King then came into the game, but Newry got the goals at the right time. Mark, you've got to say the second goal in the second half so early on killed them off.
Anderson forward for Garrett. Yes. He's a skillful player. Little player as Stephen Garrett. Hasn't just got the irritation we talked about and the pace, but he can play football as well.
Technique and good attitude, tenacious in the corner, and he's worked his socks off, and he got the third goal, which was a real killer for them. 2-0 down is bad, but 3-0 down, and that's almost the end. Great skill.
Brilliant from King. Good looking cross as well. And who is back there for Ballymena? Stuart King. There are several Stuart Kings out there, I'm sure of it. He's on the right, he's on the left, he's in attack, he's in defence, he's in midfield.
He's still on the losing side, but the looks at it as well, Mark, unfortunately. He's worked well. Definitely the best player for Ballymena tonight.
Meloch. chance here. Out comes Murphy. Well played by Murphy. And there was the chance to see the pace of McNeil. The ball not out of play though. Still on for Ballymena.
Oh my goodness. He's missed it at the near post. Paul McNeil, who did so well coming off the bench as a sub, has a chance at the near post and misses it. Could have been an interesting last couple of minutes had he put it away.
Oh, Paul McNeil twice in the space of 30 seconds or so. Heavily involved in very dangerous areas there for Ballymena. That's Haveron. McNeil gaining in confidence, plays a neat little ball through for Kelby, and the whistle is gone. Free kick here to Ballymena.
Well, no advantage there from the first foul. Although Kelby picked up the ball, the referee decided to give the free kick. Quite a long way out.
Haveron standing over the ball. Murphy just the three men on the wall, but it is a long, long way out, even though the wind is at the backs of the Ballymena men. Teggart drills one. What a goal by Neil Teggart. An absolutely blistering finish from the number 9. And is there time? Is there time?
Well, what a strike this is from Death Prince from Teggart. Well, definitely Halloween. It takes a deflection, I think, as well. Looks like it come off Colin Feeney, but I think it was going into the back of the net anyway, Mark. An absolute extra set from Teggart, and it makes it interesting. 3-2, Newry lead with a couple of minutes left.
Well, what an exceptional finish it could be. 2 minutes. 2 minutes of added time for Ballymena to get another. Remember, they were 3-0 down in this game, and 2 goals from Neil Teggart have brought them right back into it here.
Some strike, Mark, wasn't it? What a strike from Neil Teggart.
A driller killer from Teggart there.
Well, that's 9 goals in 18 matches from Teggart. It's an excellent strike record.
No, will this be the moment for Ballymena, because they're going to get a free kick here, and the referee has gone to his pocket, and it's a yellow card against Friars. Free kick far side. They're going to flood the box here, Ballymena, and it was Picking who was brought down.
Well, Stuart King's coming across on the right hand side, Mark, and you know they're nervous. They're the draw specialists. They've been 3-0 up. It's 3-2. There's a minute left, and he's going to whip this in, Stuart King, with loads of pace, and they've already scored one similar from this position.
He's got a great delivery as Stuart King, but it's far too far this time. Well, he hasn't made too many errors tonight, Stuart King, but at the crucial, the vital moment, he does make one.
Oh, it's a shame, because they were very nervous at the back, Newry, and that one was just a little bit too high.
Another substitution, and going off is Chris Morgan.
Well, this is Kevin Keegan, but not the Kevin Keegan coming on.
It's not the Geordie Messiah, no, you're right. Right, final minute. Can Ballymena create one more chance? So here comes Meloch, and here's Colligan. And the ball out of play, and it's a throw into Ballymena, taken quickly by Colligan, and Newry, little bit of panic in defence. They just want to get the ball out here. The referee checks that watch. Colligan, and it's away by Newry. Whistles from all the Newry fans, as you would expect. Good header through for Garrett. Can Garrett make it 4-2? Garrett might just hold the ball up here. Oh, almost. Good ball through for Davidson. But now, of course, he's given the ball away, but it's too late for Ballymena. It was a great strike towards the death by Neil Teggart, but Newry have managed to hang on and win an absolutely thrilling game here at the Ballymena Showgrounds by 3 goals to 2. Stephen Garrett scored that 3rd goal for Newry to put them 3 goals to 0 up, and then we thought it was all over, but we didn't count for Ballymena's fighting spirit, and they came back strong and they came back hard. The final score here is Newry City 3, Ballymena 2.
Well, we've had some wonderful games in the Irish League this season. 5 goals here at the Ballymena Showgrounds. Superb entertainment, as Mark said. The result of that means that the Irish Premiership table looks like this at the moment. Newry City move up 2 places into 6th. That is crucial because after 33 games for the first time this year, the Irish League will split into the top 6 and the bottom 6. You got to be in the top 6 if you want to have a shot at the title, and Newry City have put themselves in that position now. Ballymena United, though, bottom of the table. Still no joy for Roy Walker, their manager. Plenty more live football coming up here. Of course, the Carling Cup this week, Sky Sports 2 and HD2. Tomorrow night, Arsenal against Wigan, 7:30. And on Wednesday, the Carling Cup continues. Tottenham against Liverpool, 7 o'clock, Sky Sports 1 and HD1 for that. And we'll have some more Irish Premiership football for you next Monday night. We're back at Solitude, Cliftonville against Glentoran, 7:30, Sky Sports 1. And then next Tuesday, Scotland under-21s against Northern Ireland under-21s, 7:30, Sky Sports 1. My little brother's playing in that, actually. Next Wednesday, Northern Ireland against Hungary. It's a friendly from Windsor Park, 7:30, Sky Sports 3. Well, great entertainment here, as we said. 5 goals, 3 of them to Newry, 2 of them to Ballymena. Good victory for the home side. They are celebrating at the moment. We'll get the thoughts of the Linfield manager, David Jeffrey, after the break. Wonderful night for Newry City. They beat Ballymena United 3 goals to 2. A much needed win for them. They are the draw specialists. Before this, they had to sweat in the final few minutes when Ballymena came back. But goals from Stephen Garrett and Chris Morgan scored there. And of course the opener from Darren King. 3-2. They were the victors. The interviews with Stephen Garrett and Chris Morgan are with Paul Gilmore.
Stephen, just how nervy was that ending?
It was very nervy. We did well to get ourselves in a position that we were 3-0 up, and then stupid mistakes, I think, cost us. But, you know, at the end we held on and it was a great result.
Chris, you complimented each other well tonight. What's the secret to the partnership?
I think Stevie does all the running for me because my legs have gone a wee bit, but tonight it worked quite well. You know, I mean, the game is that I come short and Stephen runs in behind, and his pace caused them a lot of problems tonight. And you know, as he said, we got ourselves in a great position, but made it a wee bit more difficult than we'd have liked near the end.
Stephen, is there a genuine belief in the Newry squad that you can finish in the top 6 this season?
There is, definitely. Gerry's definitely instilled a confidence within us. We've had a lot of draws recently, and it was just great to get 3 points tonight.
Chris, you're used to life at Glentoran and Linfield. How does your time at Newry compare to that?
Well, obviously, you know, at the Glens and the Blues, you're expected to be winning titles, and that probably isn't what is expected at Newry. But as Stephen said there, we've got a genuine belief that we can push on and certainly be in the top 6 when the league breaks.
Okay, lads, well done.
Well, David Jeffrey, who is our guest, knows both those players very well. They were both with him at Linfield for a time. David, you'll be pretty pleased for Stephen Garrett and Chris Morgan.
Graham, I tell you, it was very much the Morgan and Garrett show. Christopher was typically modest. He had a wonderful game tonight. He's a very intelligent player, technically excellent. Stephen Garrett, again, was another young man who left us because he wasn't maybe getting as many first-team opportunities as he would have liked. We always knew he was a great player. He blossomed this evening, and really Christopher and Stephen were absolutely magnificent, and will give the Ballymena back for a torrid time.
And Jerry Flynn will be very pleased, obviously, just to get a win, because as we said, he had so many draws, 8 draws in his first 14 league games, that Now that they've got that win, do you expect them to push on? They're in the top 6, which is crucial, as we said.
I have been very impressed with Newry, and particularly this evening I thought they were excellent. I think Stephen was maybe a little bit harsh on his side when he said about giving mistakes, or it was mistakes that let Ballymena back in. You know, Ballymena fought very, very hard, and it was a wicked free kick in for the first goal. Unbelievable shot for the second, which took a mad deflection.
Let's take a look at those 3 goals then. Well, this was obviously only 9 minutes. The perfect start for the visitors, really quietened the home crowd.
Well, we said at half-time, Graham, you know, watch the Ballymena defenders. They all back off, every single one of them. A speculative shot comes free to Darren King, and that is a quality finish. It really was first class. Again, Roy will not be happy with his defenders, but let's admire the finish. Well done, Darren.
Especially from a back, we should say, a wing back.
Well, you know, as I say, Gerry has employed this system, and when you play with the 5, you're expecting your wide men to get forward to complement your front men, and certainly Darren did it on that occasion.
Great skills and great finishing on display for all 3 goals, actually, especially from Chris Morgan, one of your former players, as we said.
Here's a great piece of play. What a great flick by Stephen Garrett. And Chris goes away from Gary Haven and sublimely puts it in the corner. Albert Watson, big strong centre half, but Stevie out jumps him. Chris goes away. Those legs are not finished, not by a long shot. And look at that finish. Consummate, absolutely brilliant. Well done, Christopher Morgan.
He modestly said that Stephen Garrett does most of the running for him. He's very quick, isn't he, Garrett?
Extremely.
He took his goal well too.
And here the compliment is going to be returned now. Headed forward, great ball by Chris. Stephen Garrett's pace gets him away, and that's a smashing strike across Alan Blaney. Great little touch from Chris. Stephen does ever so well to get it out of his body, and he drives it in. That's great football. As I say, it was classic centre forward play tonight, and they complemented each other so very, very well.
No doubt Newry City manager Gerry Flynn is very pleased with them. He's with Paul Gilmore.
Gerry, a nervy ending. What are your thoughts?
We should have had the game all over 3-0. The boys started the second half superb. We got the second goal, then the third goal in quick succession, and we made hard work of it in the end.
With so many draws this season, are you satisfied your side are starting to convert those draws into victories?
Yes, that was the main aim tonight, to come up, get 3 points. Disappointed to not keeping the clean sheet, but it's excitement for the fans, you know, and the people watching on TV. But you know, we'll build on that. Hopefully, get another one on Saturday and be up the top of the league where we belong.
Well, you finished mid-table last season. You're mid-table now after that win. What can this Newry team achieve this season?
The ability's there for everyone to see. You know, we got, especially the first 20 minutes of the second half, we got it down. First half as well, we got our patterns of play going, and we passed the ball about. 2 strikers get a goal tonight as well as one of the wing backs. We're looking to cement our place in the top 6. It's only ourselves can knock us out of it, and you know, who knows from there on.
How pleasing has it been to see the form of Stephen Garrett and Chris Morgan?
Exactly. You know, boys are, you know, the strikers are judged on the goals. One apiece tonight, one apiece the other night in the cup, and you know, I'm delighted for both of them.
Gerry, well done. Thank you.
Well, Roy Walker at the moment, David, locked in with his teammates, with his players in the changing room. He won't be very happy, will he? Although maybe he will take some pleasure from the comeback.
They certainly kept going right to the end, but I think Roy will be saying, listen fellas, we can't afford to give teams a 3-goal start, particularly at home, because it just knocks the heart right out of you. And I've got to say, when you analyse the 3 goals, there was some super play. Here's their fight back.
He'd probably be happy with Teggart, playing him with 2. He's been their top scorer this season.
Very much so. It's a great ball, and it's a fantastic touch. Stuarty King, tremendous left foot. Again, another ex-Blue man. Here's this shot that Gerry described as an Exocet missile. My goodness gracious me. It's a wonder Colin Feeney didn't get his head taken off.
He's a brave man putting his head in the way, wasn't he?
He looks to get back in there again because he's trying to help the goalkeeper out. And unfortunately then gets his head taken off and puts the ball into the back of the net.
How significant do you think the new league structure will be, David, come the end of the season? First of all, we've got to point out that the league has gone from 16 teams down to 12. Do you think that means that there's better talent on display?
I think it's certainly much more competitive, Graham. It's very tight. Everybody's fighting for their lives, particularly with this cut-off. Just look at it there. Look how very tight it's going to be. And everybody is capable of beating everybody else on their day. It is as tight as that. And certainly it's the first time we've tried this structure over here. I'm not sure how it's going to go with the split, but certainly up to now it's making for very tense Saturdays and some great football.
And very briefly, you're here obviously as a pundit, but you're also doing a little bit of scouting. Who caught your eye tonight?
Well, you know, there were some obvious candidates. I thought Alan Blaney was excellent in goals for Ballymena, made some tremendous saves. Richard Clark was sublime in the middle of the park. Stephen Garrett, Christopher Morgan was first class.
Plenty more football still to come here on Sky Sports as ever. Always live. Next Monday, more Irish League football. Cliftonville against Glentoran from Solitude, 7:30. Carling Cup, Arsenal against Wigan, 7:30. Sky Sports 1 HD2 tomorrow. Then Tottenham against Liverpool is on Wednesday. That is at 7 p.m. Sky Sports 1 and HD1. Don't forget, after this, you're on Sky Sports. Your chance to let us know what you think about all matters of football. There's also NFL on this channel, 1:30 in the morning. The NFL, San Francisco 49ers at the Arizona Cardinals. Well, that's about it from us for now. My thanks to the infield manager, David Jeffrey. 5 goals here at the Ballymena Showgrounds. More great entertainment from the Irish League. Let's hope for more of the same next Monday. Bye-bye.
More sport, news and views at skysports.com.